If I told you that some of the atoms inside that delicious meal on your plate passed through someone else's body about a week ago, it sounds impossible. But this is the greatest and most hidden recycling miracle of the modern world. The moment you flush, you're actually turning the gears of $1 billion mint. To you, it vanished, but 10 meters beneath your feet, the massive journey where chaos is transformed into order has only just begun. The flush is pulled, and within seconds, you're launched into a dark labyrinth stretching for thousands of kilometers. This is the center of chaos beneath the city. Every second, hundreds of bathtubs worth of waste, mountains of grease and industrial residue flow into these colossal facilities. But the moment that wild flow reaches the plant, it is met with the discipline of an army, by the laws of physics themselves. Giant bar screens push aside the rough plastics. While the speed of the water is slowed with mathematical precision. There is no room for error here. Heavy sand settles to the bottom. Light oils rise to the top. This isn't simple cleaning. This is an operation to protect million-dollar turbines. Because if that sand isn't separated out, it becomes sandpaper, shredding massive machines and wearing them down within seconds. If the system stops, the city can drown in its own waste within 24 hours. Now this dense mixture is pumped into the plant's dark stomach, into colossal steel structures rising toward the sky. These are the digesters. The digesters are energy temples. Inside them, oxygen is completely cut off, and the temperature is fixed at exactly 37 degrees Celsius, your body temperature. In this endless darkness, for billions of anaerobic bacteria, this waste is an epic feast. As the bacteria break down the organic matter, a dense power begins to accumulate at the top of the tank, methane. This is where money and power begin. A gas once released into the atmosphere is now trapped in massive spheres, purified, and upgraded to natural gas quality. And when that gas is fed into enormous engines, the size of houses, the pistons begin to roar like engineering miracles. When the generator's gigantic rotors start to spin, that dark waste has turned into pure light, electricity. This isn't just energy production. This is the city's life support unit. The massive power produced first feeds the plant's own giant pumps and control centers, making the system autonomous, and then it pours like a river into the city grid. Right now, from the battery of the device you're watching this on, to the sterile lights in hospitals where the most critical surgeries are performed, from incubators in newborn units, to the thousands of lamps lighting the city's most remote and darkest streets, everything draws power from this invisible revolution. The city sells you back the electricity it produced from your waste, taking the raw material for free and selling the product for money. This is the most flawless business model in world history. But energy is only the beginning. So what about the thick black sludge left at the bottom of those tanks? This is the system's most profitable stop. That material is pushed through a pressurized thermal hell at 160 degrees Celsius. Every virus and pathogen is destroyed at the molecular level. What remains are completely sterile, black granules. The US Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, calls this biosolids. But let's call it what it feels like: black gold. These granules are packaged. Labels like organic and natural are stamped on top. No one tells you that a short time ago, these bags were inside a sewer pipe. Trucks carry this black gold to agricultural regions. Spread over fields, this fertilizer becomes the nitrogen in the bread on your plate. You eat, you discard, the system collects, and it sends it back to you as food again. The endless circular story of modern humans. And the water, the liquid portion separated from the very beginning, goes through evaporation and condensation in massive boilers at high heat. At this stage, the water is stripped of heavy metals and the tiniest pollutants. Then, in aeration basins, oxygen-fed bacteria continue cleaning the water at a microscopic level. And the final stage is UV sterilization. As the water passes under intense ultraviolet light, the DNA of any remaining living organism is shattered. The result, crystal clear water. This water is returned to rivers, fish swim, and the next city downstream takes that same water and turns it into drinking water. Waste has been restored to the world as gas, electricity, fertilizer, and clean water. So why do we spend billions on this system? Because history is filled with the mass graves of those who didn't build it. In medieval Europe, waste was dumped directly into the streets and seeped into farmland. In the crowded cities of the Far East, pollution turned cholera outbreaks into silent executioners. And in Siberia's brutal cold, it was even more savage. Waste froze in winter, then thawed in spring, poisoning every drinking water source. This contamination didn't only kill people, it paralyzed cities economically and militarily, leaving them vulnerable to invasion. Armies shattered by epidemics, lost wars. Filth became history's cheapest and most effective biological weapon. That's when rulers and kings realized one thing: to keep a healthy army and a powerful economy, they had to conquer what lay beneath their feet. The first great infrastructure projects and sewer networks were born, as kingdoms fought to protect their own existence. Today, these facilities are our strongest shield against biological bombs, disasters that could drag us back into medieval darkness overnight. Now you know how the silent empire beneath your feet works. The sound of a flush is the life cry of this colossal system. Waste became gas, it became electricity, it became fertilizer. And in the end, it returned to your plate as food again. This is civilization's most honest and most hidden face. So here's the question: are these machines protecting us, or do they see us as fuel, inside an endless wheel of consumption? The decision is yours. I've left all technical reports and data in the description, and if you want us to open more hidden doors of this silent empire together, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Keep your eyes open, keep your mind awake. Until our next deep dive, stay curious.